And now, we will be having Portraits of Christmas with your host, Pastor Gerry Miller.
Well, welcome back to our discussion with Professor Ambrosio Amo regarding the portraits of Christ in the Christmas series here at New Hope Church. Well, anyway, we have Professor Ambrosio Amo here to discuss the painting by Sandro Boticelli called The Annunciation to Mary. Professor, welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about the artist, first of all, Sandro Boticelli. Tell us a little bit about him. What were some of his life perspectives when it came to his artistry and painting masterpieces such as the painting we're considering today?
Yeah, Sandro Boticelli is Italian, like me. We're both Italian, but again, I don't paint. I just, Anyway, Sandro Boticelli is also one of the great pre-Renaissance painters of the time. Actually, apart from that, there is really nothing much known about Sandro Botticelli's wife. He didn't even get married. And then, when he died, nobody really knew him at all. Nobody recognized him for his paintings. It's kind of unfortunate that, people started knowing him 200 years after he died. So...
Oh, interesting. Well, let's talk a little bit about this painting. Now, looking at this painting, as I envision the angel Gabriel coming to Mary, as depicted in the Bible, this event doesn't exactly kind of square up. It seems like the setting is in a house that is a house of a very wealthy person. It's a very nice setting, and it's overlooking a village that looks like a fairly wealthy, well-to-do village. Please comment a little bit about this particular setting that Botticelli is using for this event in the Scripture.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't really square out with that, because back at that time, people in Nazareth, it was kind of like a really poor town. People lived in clay houses and all that. Well, that is if they're kind of well-to-do, but if they're not, then they kind of just live in caves or something like that. It doesn't really look like that. The explanation is that, it's the revival of Greek and classical Greek and Roman art. If it's beautiful, if people think that, a certain thing is supposed to be beautiful, then there should be a Greek or a Roman element to it. So you see there, the tiles, the walls, they're Roman in nature. You don't see tiles in Israel. No, it's like they just have mud, mud floors.
Well, let's talk about the characters in this painting. Okay, first thing, the angel. The thing that really struck me as I look at the angel, is it a he or is it a she?
Yeah.
It very much an androgynous depiction of an angelic being.
Yeah.
Very ambiguous sexually. And talk a little bit about this angel and why was it depicted that way, and what is that plant that he or she is holding in his or her hand?
Yeah, actually, the plant is not even in the Bible, so I don't know. But it's basically an artistic choice. But a lot of other interpreters or art critics like me, some of them think that it kind of references the Bible verse. He's the lily of the valley, and then we know that the lily of the valley is Jesus Christ. So it kind of tells you that, since it's the Annunciation to Mary, it kind of tells you that this is the scene where the angel announces to Mary that, hey, you're going to have Jesus. And yeah, you're right. It's kind of, it's actually biblically accurate that he portrayed the angel as neither a he or a she, but kind of leaning towards more of the he.
Now, Mary. Now, the thing that's very striking about her is it almost looks like she's in a swoon, the way she's kind of almost teetering or swaying a little bit. And please comment a little bit about Botticelli's depiction of Mary in this painting.
Yeah, actually, that depiction is a lot better than the other paintings, because the other painting, she's having a heart attack, like that. So, but it's kind of weird. She has her hands like this, and she's in a swoon. And then you kind of see that, the angel is kind of acting to touch her hand, and she doesn't touch it, and she's like this. Kind of tells you that, probably she doesn't like what the message is telling her, or what the angel is telling her.
Now, are there any other comments you'd like to make about Mary and the way she is depicted in this painting?
Actually, that's what I'm here for, the art critic. Actually, just to give you a little bit of background on the work that I do, when we when we criticize, not really criticize, but when we critique art, we don't only look at like, what color they used or if the painting is ugly or anything like that. We also take note of perspective and lines. If you're going to trace those lines, you would basically see that, more or less it kind of like converges on the hands. Mm-hmm. So it kind of like tells you that the main subject of the painting really is the hands. If you're going to notice too the plane, where people are placed. If you're going to notice, Mary is actually higher in the plane. Kind of like, unconsciously tells you that Mary is held in a higher regard, than the angel.
Well, there's some very interesting insights, Professor Amo. Appreciate your comments on this. And now, a word from our sponsors.